Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teleiosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. This is the podcast where you get to learn Greek, the grammar, the words, and some great theology in a wonderful epistle to the Ephesians. Let's go to the text. We're in chapter 5, in a negative list of commands by Paul of things that Christians, born-again Christians, those who have believed by faith alone in Jesus Christ and his death and resurrection, they should not characterize our lives in a persistent way. So verse 4, kai, that ever-present conjunction, linking two thoughts under the same topic, they're of equal weight. Iskrotes, this shameful, basically, filthiness, it's a noun, it's a feminine nominative, singular noun. It's unusual because it ends in a sigma. So there are a group of words in Greek that will end in a sigma that characterize a person, more abstract thought. Kai, again, morolia, so buffoonery, silly talk, leading towards the negative side, only used here, moro, silliness, logia, word, of course, this is again a feminine nominative singular. E, here in this case, or, remember, it could be meaning the, past tense subjunctive for emi. So in context, you can say that means or, you can figure that out, decide it. Eutrapelia, also humor, witticism, more on the positive side in secular Greek. These two words for humor are only used here. So they do contrast between negative and positive. Again, this is feminine, nominative, singular. Why humor can be a good thing? Why would he say not to have positive humor? This has often been confusing to me. I think it's because, again, these are characteristics of a person on a persistent basis. Characterizes them. So I don't think it's saying we shouldn't have humor, but it shouldn't be what people think of us the first thing. Okay, they should think godly things about us. And below it says specifically thankfulness. I think also humor needs to be used very carefully in our societies today. In many of them, people are very sensitive. And particularly when you're first meeting them, you have to be very careful to tell them who you are by your love and actions and speech, doing that to set the relationship and to serve them. And then perhaps later, when the person is confident of who you are and won't misjudge your humor, then they will, then perhaps it's more appropriate to use. Again, in a positive fashion, not making people the butt of your jokes or institutions. So again, that can be controversial, but look at the text and the context and decide for yourself. Just also as a side, I think this is mentioned because in Roman culture, it was a lot rougher than our cultures. And most of us probably listening were raised in a Christian type culture. Whereas Rome, it was not a Christian culture. People were rougher. Maybe even humor in a positive sense was rougher than what we would tolerate in the church. So the Holy Spirit had to work to bring people a longer way to a Christian mindset, I think, than they do now. Just look at the qualities for an elder, the qualities that are mentioned, like fighting and fraud. These people in the church wouldn't even be acting that way if they weren't an elder. more than likely. Maybe they would. But I think you understand my point, I hope. TA, this is, of course, an article, but in this case, there's no noun, so we think of it as perhaps a relative pronoun. In this case, I translated thanes in the neuter plural nominative. It goes actually with the participle, anikonta, so the thanes not fitting, the thanes which not fitting. The ook there is not, of course, there's a K there because it's before a word that starts with a vowel, so it's there for phonetic reasons. Anikonta, a little not used very much, like a lot of these words. It's a verb. Let's walk through it. The an is a prefix. Ana, to go up, reverse again. The eta there is not an augment. It's part of the root. Ig, for basically to be fit. And the O, of course, is the vowel connector to the ending. And this would be an O, of course, is the connector for the present tense, future, and second aorist. In this case, the present. NT tells you it's a present participle. And the A, again, telling you it's the nominative plural neuter. So not the things unfitting, not things, and not these things are not fit, but Allah, and this is non-declinable, only means but. The Run just said that the phrase coming after the conjunction, Allah, are preferred over the first. And this is true here. Malon can be translated more or rather. They're about equal, one-to-one of that usage, and it's pretty common in the New Testament. So you have to decide by context. By context, Malon would be rather here. And then Eucharistia, thankfulness. So as opposed to the things above, we're to be known as thankful people. That's really important. We aren't going around speaking badly of people. We're being thankful for other people, and perhaps even the specific ways in which we are being thankful for them. We think about the ways in which we're thankful to God and people, so we end up saying these things. So we're known as thankful people as Christians. It's I think, an often ignored lesson, but very important. Okay, so what do we have? Neither filthiness, foolish talking, gesture, which are not convenient or fitting, but rather giving of thanks. All right, thank you for joining me today. Good lessons. And we'll continue this list, the admonishments of Paul, of what we're not to be next time. And of course, a lot of good Greek. Please join me then.